Welcome to the US 169 Buck O'Neil Bridge Environmental Study online public meeting. The purpose of this presentation is to provide an update of the project and receive additional public input. At the February 12 public meeting, the project team was analyzing 13 to 15 possible alternatives to provide a new river crossing. We showed areas of potential impacts common to groups of alternatives rather than detailed alternative alignments due to the number of options under study. The input from this helped identify and prioritize issues. Since then, we have been screening and refining alternatives based on transportation needs and public comments. In this presentation, we will discuss the process used to identify potential reasonable alternatives to be carried forward for detailed study. We will discuss the pros and cons of the 4 potentially reasonable alternatives and outline the next steps. Please note that we hope to use a design-build process to construct the new bridge. During this process, design-build teams may propose a variety of changes. The improvement constructed may be different than what is shown in this presentation. The environmental study area is shown in yellow. The study area is long and narrow and covers the US 169 corridor between Missouri 9 and I-35. Our study is focused on improvements from the Charles B. Wheeler Downtown Airport south to 12th Street on I-35. We are not recommending improvements north of the downtown airport because those structures have either been rehabilitated in the last decade or they're in good condition. The center segment is focused on the river crossing and the south segment is focused on interstate connections. The purpose and need identifies the problems that we are trying to solve with this project. Using data and public input from the Pell study, the team identified 3 areas of need. 1. MoDOT has an asset management process focused on keeping bridges in good condition for as long as possible and for replacing those in poor condition. The river bridge is in poor condition and it needs to be rehabilitated or replaced, along with the southbound bridge adjacent to Richards Road. Other structures in the I-70 I-35 interchange also need to be rehabilitated or replaced. 2. Data gathered during the Pell showed that traffic was divided nearly evenly between those bound for destinations in downtown, the River Market and West Bottoms, and those bound for destinations south of downtown. And 3, the intersection at 5th and Broadway is confusing for drivers. It has a variety of safety and operational issues. During rush hour, the 5th and 6th Street intersections experience congestion that causes traffic to back up across the bridge as well as onto the interstate. Currently, there are no pedestrian or bicycle facilities on the bridge. Pedestrians walk across the 3-foot center median, and bicycles must use the left lane to access the downtown airport, Richards Road, and to the Harlem neighborhood. As the study has progressed, the study team refined the traffic models from the Pell. New data emerged that suggests that the traffic benefit from the direct ramp connections was not as great as hoped. On opening day, users of the direct connections to I-35 will most probably experience congestion which is similar to what they experience today during rush hour. 2 factors contribute to the congestion. The interchange design at Missouri 9 limits the number of vehicles that can access the bridge from the north. Between Missouri 9 and the river bridge, physical barriers limit the number of vehicles that can reach the river bridge. South of the river, these ramps connecting US 169 to I-35 would merge with I-35 traffic on the western leg of the loop. I-35 from the northwest corner of the loop to Kansas state line is congested today and would limit the number of vehicles that can merge onto I-35 via new ramps from US 169 during rush hour. This new information made the study team discuss whether the benefit of the new direct connection ramps was worth the cost. The study team consulted with the Federal Highway Administration and determined that a modification of the purpose and need was necessary to study a wider range of alternatives in order to identify a preferred alternative that best meets the purpose and need and provides the best solution to our valued customers. The adjusted draft purpose and need statement modifies the second element to maintain a reliable connection across the Missouri River that services local and regional traffic rather than separating local and regional traffic. The study team used a 2-step screening process to reduce the large number of additional alternatives. The first step was to determine which initial alternative met the purpose and need. If the alternative meets the purpose and need, then it moves into the second step of the screening process. The study team created 5 performance areas. Infrastructure, to provide desired bridge and roadway lifespans and minimize long-term maintenance. Mobility, to improve travel times, reduce congestion, accommodate future travel demand and modal choice. Accessibility, to improve local and regional roadway connections, accommodate alternative travel modes, and facilitate river navigation. Safety, to reduce traffic queues during peak travel periods, reduce crash severity, and safely accommodate bicycle and pedestrian traffic. Environment, to minimize new right-of-way acquisition, minimize effects on public spaces and historic resources, and manage environmental risks during construction. Constructability, to accelerate construction timeline, minimize facility closures, and manage construction costs and risks. Each alternative is screened against a variety of quantitative and qualitative variables within each of the 5 performance areas. Through the 2-step screening process, the study team identified 4 potential reasonable alternatives to move into a more detailed analysis: no build, west alternative, central alternative, and adjacent alternative. The potential reasonable alternatives include the 3 build options and 1 do nothing option, which we call the no build alternative. Each build option includes bicycle and pedestrian facilities. The slides that follow are color-coded. The blue lines highlight the river bridge. Light blue lines show the direct ramp connections between I-35 and US 169. Yellow shaded areas highlight new facilities built on walls or at grade. Green shaded areas identify short bridges that will be altered or added in each alternative. With the no-build alternative, we would not replace the Buck O'Neil Bridge. Traffic operations would not change, and the signals at 5th and 6th Street would remain in place. This alternative does not remove the existing historic bridge. There are no impacts to right-of-way and no construction impacts. However, due to the age and the continued deterioration of the Buck O'Neil Bridge, we believe that MoDOT would need to perform regular, small maintenance projects in order to keep the bridge open to traffic. This alternative does not replace the aging infrastructure. It does not improve local and regional traffic flows and connections, and it does not accommodate bicycle and pedestrian traffic well. Based on this information, you can see that the no-build alternative does not meet purpose and need. However, MoDOT is required to carry this alternative forward into detailed analysis. In this alternative, the bridge swings to the west of the current facility. Elevated ramps provide a direct connection from US 169 to I-35. Travelers going south in the morning could use the flyover ramps to connect to I-35 without having to go through a signal. The same is true for commuters traveling north in the afternoon. Commuters who are headed from the Northland into downtown will take an exit ramp to 5th and 6th Street. From 6th Street, commuters would use the local street grid access to destinations in the River Market, West Bottoms, and in downtown Kansas City. There are several positive aspects to this alternative. It provides a new river bridge to the west of the current structure. This option improves community connectivity by removing the existing bridge infrastructure that separates portions of the River Market. The western alternative would also minimize the impacts to right-of-way by moving all of the bridge infrastructure and the ramps to the western side of the River Market. The location of the new river bridge provides opportunities to minimize construction closures and keep the existing Buck O'Neil Bridge open for as long as possible during construction. However, this alternative does remove the existing Buck O'Neil Bridge. We will need to reconstruct some bridges, and there will be some ramp construction on I-70. This will impact traffic. This alternative will provide a facility to allow safe pedestrian and bicycle trips, but the location of the bridge increases walking distance, potentially making pedestrian trips a little less attractive. We estimate the construction cost of this alternative to be between $230 and $250 million. In the central alternative, the river bridge would be constructed between the existing Buck O'Neil Bridge and the west alternative. This alternative provides a direct connection from US 169 to I-35, so traffic bound for downtown is separated from traffic heading to I-35 and destinations to the south. This connection partially improves community connectivity by removing some of the existing infrastructure that separates portions of the river market. Travelers headed into downtown will connect with Broadway at 5th Street as they do today. This alternative removes the existing Buck O'Neil Bridge, and there are more right-of-way impacts than identified in the west alignment. It may require intermittent closures during construction. We estimate the construction cost of this alternative to be between $210 and $230 million. As we have just discussed, the west and central alternatives both provide a direct connection from the river bridge to I-35. These ramps are elevated. This slide shows the new ramp bridges and the view drivers would see as they drive west on I-70 toward the northwest corner of the loop. This alternative has 3 potential options. The adjusted purpose and need allows the addition of the 3 adjacent options for more detailed study. Adjacent option 1. In place of the flyover ramps, this alternative adds turn lanes and additional through lanes to allow more vehicles to move through the intersections at 5th and 6th Streets and Broadway. Travelers will have the same connections to the interstate and local city streets as they have today. There are several positive features to this alternative. This option will provide a new river bridge, which will accommodate bicycles and pedestrians and minimize right-of-way impacts by constructing the new river bridge close to its existing alignment. There are also some cost savings realized by not building the flyover bridges. However, this alternative does remove the historic Buck O'Neil Bridge, and there are no direct connections to I-35. While this option will provide a facility for bicycles and pedestrians, it creates a wide intersection at 5th and Broadway. Wide intersections are less attractive for pedestrians and can be barriers for those with disabilities. We estimate the construction cost of this option to be between $180 and $200 million. Adjacent option 2. This option includes the added lanes at 5th and 6th Streets shown in option 1. These additions will allow more traffic to move through each intersection than can be accommodated today. This option would be constructed to allow for the addition of direct connections between I-35 and US 169 in the future based on traffic demand. We estimate the construction cost of this option to be between $180 and $200 million initially, with additional costs incurred when the direct ramp connections are added. Adjacent option 3. Option 3 is similar to west and central alternatives. It includes ramps that provide a direct connection between I-35 and US 169. Option 3 will build a new bridge next to the existing Buck O'Neil Bridge and includes bicycle and pedestrian facilities. This option will remove the existing historic bridge. We estimate the construction cost of this option to be between $210 and $230 million. North of the river, the City of Kansas City and MoDOT are working with the Aviation Department to identify improvements to entrances and exits at the Charles B. Wheeler Downtown Airport. This corridor is narrow with the river and the airport on the west side and the railroad on the east side of the highway. The option designed for Richards Road will work with any 3 of the 3 build alternatives. This virtual meeting will be active until September 3rd, 2019. At that time, the meeting will be available for viewing, but the survey will be closed. While the virtual meeting is active, the team will continue the detailed analysis of the potential reasonable alternatives. This includes traffic analysis, noise analysis, impact evaluations, and agency coordination. Input received from the virtual meeting will be incorporated into the analysis of the potential reasonable alternatives and in the selection of the preferred alternative. Your next opportunity for comment will be in the fall or early winter. We will host a public hearing and participants will be able to discuss the proposed preferred alternative. We hope to complete this environmental document and federal reviews in late 2019 in order to receive our environmental clearance in early 2020. Thank you for participating in our virtual meeting. Please take the online survey and tell us what you think.